listen to now. So Daire is going to begin.
Yeah, I guess we'll probably just bring the tone down just a little bit. We don't have anything particularly nice and lovely and others to say. I can give you a little update on a story earlier about Jesus, who was the love of Joey's life. Well, unfortunately, Jesus turned out to be gay. He wasn't really an option for Joey. But interestingly enough, he did reappear a few years later. Garode actually saw him while he was walking down a laneway. And Jesus shouted out to him, "Hey, you're pretty fit." It's a true story, actually. There are some people who can't be with us here today, and I know some of Garode's colleagues in the News of the World would like to send their best wishes. And I was talking to Rupert Murdoch last week. Some of you will know that I'm very well connected. So Rupert said that from all the text messages he'd been reading and seeing between the two of them, there was nothing to worry about. So I actually met, or rather saw Joey at the same time that Garode saw Joey. And it was at a party in Garode's flat in Smithfield. And we both kind of remarked at how incredibly attractive she was. Remarkably attractive, and how she really, really stood out. And Garode said, I wouldn't mind, asking her. And I mean, as a genuinely good friend, I thought it was best to inform him that he really didn't stand a chance. He should probably stay away. Turns out I was wrong on that one. But there were a number of other men who also fancied their chances with Garode, with Joey. One of those men was Garode's flatmate, and he really fancied Joey as well, having seen her at the party and actually having been in class with her for quite a while. So he decided, after Garode and Joey went on their first date, that it might be best that he kind of turned up on their date. So they had arranged to go to the theatre together, and he had arranged a seat right next to the two of them. But it didn't deter either of them, and here we are today. In fact, my own boyfriend also had a little run-in with Joey. He fancied Joey as well. I had been living with both Joey and Garode for some time. I had been away in New York, and I got a text message from Mark to say, "Can you give me Garode's number, please?" And so I gave him the number. He said it was very urgent, and I wondered what had happened. What could possibly have happened? And it turns out that Mark had woken up in the middle of the night and gone to the bathroom, and disorientated, and what we later found out was sleepwalking. He had walked into the wrong room and gone into bed. And Joey, seeing this man in her bed, rolled over, held him, and said, "Garode." To which he replied, "Not Garode." She turned on the light to see a very strange man in her bed, and he wandered back to his room and went, "Oh, oh." And that was the end of that. Garode informed me recently that Joey had purchased 50 Shades of Grey. So, I mean, be careful on your honeymoon. One piece of advice that I will give to Joey as a new Irish housewife is on a winter's night, in bed, don't be afraid if you encounter between your legs something long, warm, and covered in rubber. Irish men love their hot water bottles. I'll hand you over to mine.
Thank you, Daire. So, thank you very much. It's an absolute pleasure to be here tonight. The sheer inevitability of these two tying it finally absolutely doesn't diminish that pleasure one bit. So firstly, congratulations to you both. Enjoy. I first met Gerard in my first week of university. Many of you former undergraduates will know, quite a hedonistic week for all involved, and happily that first week certainly set the tone for the rest of Gerard and I's friendship, which happily has continued to be particularly hedonistic, at least when our bank balances would permit it. It's a huge amount of fun being Gerard's friend, and I'm really glad that you can all experience that tonight. And I assure you, if you want the full Gerard work experience, I encourage you to keep going as late as you possibly can tonight. Indeed, Gerard has long had to hold myself and Daire back when our innate extravagance and exuberance has threatened to get the better of the three of us. And one recent occasion, myself and Daire, almost managed to convince Gerard, helped by the consummate salesman of Bond Street in London, that we'd had to buy ties for today that individually cost more than the bridesmaids' dresses. But happily, Joey's prudence is one of many virtues that have finally rubbed off on Gerard. This has been a long process, however. I remember one Christmas shopping trip that myself and Gerard and Daire went on. The presents over the years, they got more and more extravagant with every year. Perhaps helped by the several bottles of wine that myself and Daire insisted on in between the brief but utterly devastating stops in Dublin's high-end boutiques. One Christmas I found myself leaning over the counter of Weir's Jewellers in Grafton Street, admiring the bling on display, and Gerard paused for a moment and he looked at me very earnestly and he told me that he wanted me to be Joey's stand-in. So I wasn't sure what to expect. The salesman handed Gerard a piece of jewellery and he turned to me and he asked me to stretch out my hand. And he explained that my pathetically slim, girly wrists were just the same size as Joey's, and that if the bracelet fit me, it would certainly fit Joey as well. But that was far from Gerard's most embarrassing Christmas shopping moment, because a few years later, having realised that he had ticked off absolutely every present a man can buy his woman, teddies, chocolates, jewellery, clothes, books, DVDs, the whole lot, he realised that he had no other option but to stare down the barrel of the most fraught purchase any man can make: underwear. So, suitably fortified by the rather liquid lunch that myself and Daire had organised, as usual, his pace quickened and he ducked into the upper levels of Brown Thomas on Dublin's Grafton Street to his stockist of choice, agent provocateur. Now, as many of you who know Gerard will realise, he is not a man easily scandalised. But I can tell you, he was shocked by what he saw there that day. But I tell you, it wasn't the garments that shocked him, it was the price that he was faced with at the till. But feeling he was rather too deep into the whole process by that stage, he handed over his credit card and scuttled out of there as fast as he had come in. I think he realised that he got very little for his money. But such is the nature of those places, or so I am told. But the gift that Garrod and Joey have given each other today is the most priceless one of all. And so I wish you every success, every happiness in the rest of your lives.